Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Open Cluster Management Community Meetings. Today is July 4th, 2025. And on the agenda today, we want to talk a little bit about our new lab repo and how we can deal with the CI/CD, given that we have, as we discussed last week, we have multiple um, we have multiple sub project within this big project. In this case, we already onboarded Shujao's dashboard, and then we have a community contributor with the fleet config controller. Today's agenda is not to talk about, what this fleet config controller is. We're hoping the community contributor will one day join and or upload a video to describe and demo it. But as part of the PR, um, the the contributor Tyler and his team also introduced kind of like a CI/CD system, or CI/CD framework or system, whatever you want to call it, that lets you kind of have this independence sub project that runs the GitHub Actions. So from my understanding of it, of course, yes, everything is still going through the GitHub action, but there's this action that generates a matrix repository, and then it runs through some planner workflow, and then it looks at the repository JSON here to see, which project needs to run the GitHub action. So in this case, if it's a fleet config controller changes, I think there's something in here that kind of look through some of the changes and see, which project should actually run these workflow. So that kind of have a little bit independence where if the PR is for fleet config controller, it wouldn't run the dashboard, kind of those CI/CD steps. But the drawback, I mean, not really drawback. I mean, one of the requirement is we gotta have some common make targets, right? So that the GitHub actions will trigger them, and then these are the few targets that needs to be included in each of the projects the Tyler and his team introduced. So there's the setup to check the format, etc. And then there's the E2E and the test unit test. Right? And then there's also kind of expected the Docker files needs to be at a certain location. And then there's also a Helm chart requirement. So I guess the Helm chart requirement here is kind of similar to what we have in our other repo, where we push to the Helm chart, charts repo. So I mean, we have the cluster gateway, cluster manager, of course, Argo CA integration, and the cluster proxy. So I think what they're saying is, once the Helm chart, it's built on the release, it will do this automatically push, similar to those other repos that have done so in the previous projects. So I was hoping to ask or discuss, what do you guys think about this kind of common approach? Having the sub projects within, but kind of running the GitHub action based on kind of calculating the diff and see what the changes are related to, and then running GitHub actions specific to that folder. I think it seems like a pretty good starting point. At least we can try this. and see how that goes. Any comments?
So currently, how do they upload the Helm chart?
I think they have the same. I think they have the same. The chart upload. This GitHub action, which is the same. I think it's the same as the other repos I mentioned, where that also upload the Helm charts.
Yeah, that will require a release version. Uh, that will require a release. We need to tag release to trigger this.
Yes, yes. You need a tag release to trigger this.
So how do we control the release? Will be the same release with OCM main, or it will the different project has their separated release cycle, or we need them to be in the same release.
I think it'll be separate release cycle, but we can try to align with the with our main release as much as possible. But since this is the lab, I think
Yeah.
it should be okay to be on a separate release.
So I think my question is like, for example, if I want to release dashboard, or but not release fleet config controller. Actually, is that possible? I think with current workflow, it will that be possible to do that?
I think what Tyler is doing here is to have that specific tag, kind of like this here. So you know how usually you tag, you just go with the version. I think what he's trying to say is, when we release, and maybe it should be properly documented or whatever. But he's saying basically the project folder name, which is the project name, and then slash on the tag.
Okay.
So that way it looks when we click on tag, like we know has nothing to do with dashboard because it's literally the fleet config dash controller.
So if we tag with that and then we make a release for only fleet config controller, does that mean that it will only trigger the Helm chart upload for the fleet controller?
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so.
Interesting. We might
Yes.
have to
I mean,
use the same way in the add-on country.
yes, I think so. So I think Tyler is testing it out right now. So
Okay.
we'll see how that goes. And then yeah. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I think if it works, we like you said, we'll use it on country or well, at least follow and see how it goes, and then
Yeah.
if it applies there as well.
Yeah, if that works, we can use a similar approach uh in the add-on country. Which means that we can tag different release for different sub subfolders, right? And then it will trigger only a certain part to upload the image and chart.
Yeah, because the CICDs are only when on the on the folders that you're interested in. So, for example, if we look at the fleet config controller one,
Mhm.
where's the CICDs? So we want these, and then but if you look at like a simple Udemy one, and then I only want this, and it's not gonna want the
Okay.
so it's yeah. But we need to onboard the dashboard one as well, I guess,
Yes.
because it's missing in here and it's not following some of the GitHub actions that the uh, the framework that they the Tyler and his team designed.
Yeah.
So I wonder if okay. I also pinged Tyler to join, but I guess it was too late. But that's
Mm.
okay.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
And
Yeah,
I have
yeah, sorry, Julia, go ahead.
to is it possible to make every sub-project has their own branch so they can control their release cadency?
I Maybe you can, but you can only have the branch on the main project. You can maybe check out, create a branch with a certain name, and then, uh, for example, like what it had been done as tag. Like you can create a branch called fleet control slash something, and we can have the GitHub action to check that only, for example, only fleet controller related change should happen in that branch.
Yeah, I mean we can have a common like a template branch. So if a new sub-project want to onboard this lab repo, we can create a new branch from the template common branch, and they can commit um, their PRs to their branch and release from their branch. I'm not sure if it's a good idea, but yeah.
Do you mean that each each sub project should only commit the code to their own
Yeah,
branch?
yeah.
Hmm.
But that's not good for the visitors of this repo, right? Like it makes sense for people working on their own branch. But when someone comes in and just want to take a look,
Maybe
oh, like
well,
fast forward to me.
yeah, you're right, but maybe we can for the main branch we can the main branch readme, you can add some links to the sub-project to the real branch. But I don't know, just an idea.
Well, or just continuously fast forward the branch changes to the main, I guess, or cherry pick or whatever it's called.
We don't need to fast forward the change to the main. I mean, the main only hold the links to the sub project. Like we have we have 3 sub project, and if you click this link, it will jump to the.
Most people don't read. Okay. Hopefully, the AI is reading it for them and do a summary and go like, oh, if you can't find this thing, it's because it's hiding in the branch. But most people will just like come in and try to click around like here. Like I'll be impressed they even got down to here. Like they
Yeah.
probably look at the logo and then go like, okay, let me click into dashboard, and then they start going in. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
But no, but it makes sense. But I mean, but why can't we have it in both places? That's what I mean, right? Like in the branch and in the main. But it just we just tagging it. I mean,
The idea is just want to resolve the separated release cadence.
okay.
So if we can release them from the main branch, I think that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see whether it is possible to do that. Like we can create a release called fleet controller, and then you will be we will only see the release of the controller's changelog, and then you can see only the Helm chart part of fleet controller is uploaded. So the the Helm chart upload will be done by the Helm charts workflow. And then later, if we tag another release called dashboard with 0.1 release, and then there will be another release node called dashboard 0.1, and there will be only Helm chart artifacts in the dashboard release. I mean, if that works, it will be great. We can really use that in add-on contrib repo to do the same thing.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for the discussions, everyone. Any other comments? Let me check. Okay. Qjang, do you have any other things that you want to mention?
No, the previously I was I want to discuss about whether how we upload a Helm chart from the add-on contrib repo by automatically. So my previous idea is that we should have a like a periodic job on a Helm chart repo to fetch the uh, add-on contrib repo and then build a Helm chart of all of them, check the diff and upload, create a PR to upload, to create a PR and not create a PR, but to commit the newly added Helm chart into the Helm chart repo. But if the actions in the lab repo really works, like I can tag releases for different add-on in the add-on contrib repo, and it will trigger chart upload for each separated chart, I think that just satisfy what I want. The question is whether it can be that to just do we need to create an action for each subproject to upload the chart, or it is dynamic enough for us to let the add-on or the lab subproject to just register it into us, for example, a JSON file, and the other thing will be done by the action.
I think it's done by the action. Like we're reading this code like without. I mean, we can fix the name here, right? It doesn't need to be fleet controller. It generates the matrix here, and the matrix here have the matrix dot repository, right? And the repository is like either fleet config or whatever. And then I think that's it. So when I think let me wait, but then the matrix output here needs to be only about the changes on like the dashboard. Is the planning? So I assume this will let it know that, oh, okay, this I am dashboard PR.
Yes, maybe you can go to the release action. I think this one is more on the release part. I think there's a part that yes, the package trim the release version. Okay. I think in general works. I am not quite sure about the trim release version will look like if the tag is the project names dash the version. Maybe it has been set already. Seems to be okay. Yeah, I think the trim the release version part we we need some changes because the tag is actually not only the version, it only have the repository part. Oh, okay.
What
Yeah,
is
that's
this regex? Is
yeah.
this regex doing that or no? I mean this shell script or whatever. It's not removing the header, right? Or the project or the repo folder name. This here. I,
I think it is like it's
it
a
is,
live.
right?
It's try to find the version, find the string starting with V, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we can try that, like just create a release and then see.
He's trying it. He's
Yeah,
trying
okay.
it. Yeah. He tried it just yeah. He'll
Yeah.
probably yeah. he'll probably figure something. Yeah. He's
Yeah,
trying to. He's gonna fix something.
yeah. Okay.
This
Very
is
interesting.
no. This is really awesome by the Tyler and his team. And, once
Yeah,
again, I want to give them a shout out. Like excellent work. Not only on the fleet config controller, but also this whole framework that he introduced with the GitHub Actions.
yeah, yeah. I think it definitely can be reused in add-on contrib. That's really awesome.
Sounds good. Okay, if there's nothing else, then let's call it for this week. Thank you everyone for joining, and see you all next time. Bye.
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 Thanks. Bye.